We've now arrived at the final statement of the lover to the beloved, when in the Song of Songs, he's knocking on the door and saying, "Open up for me, my sister, my beloved, my dove, and finally, my perfect one, Tamati." What an incredible place to arrive at after all of this. After having come through the sense of just a common experience of a joined life in Achoti, and the differentiation and distinction which leads to the passion and the desire of Rayati, and the faithfulness and commitment of a covenant which has been formed through trial and difficulty, which is in Yonati, we finally arrive at a sense of perfection about this, perfection about you, and as the rabbis teach it, perfection about us, to Omati. You see, here's an experience which comes after all of the other levels of love, which brings the lovers to a sense of, there's just beauty here. There's a wholeness about this. There's a realness about it. And there's something which we both experience together in this connection, which gives us the realization that wholeness really comes by virtue of the connectedness which we're experiencing. You see, last time we saw how it was Yaakov, it was Jacob, who is the forefather, who is the revealer of this kind of a faithfulness in his relationship with Leah. Well, of course, he has another relationship too, and that is with Rachel, the woman of beauty, the woman who he meets and immediately desires to kiss, the woman who is actually his accompaniment along the way of life, in which his experience of life is that which brings about and foments a kind of connection which, in a certain level, he doesn't have with Leah. You see, the connection with Leah, as we saw, is one in which there's a faithful commitment to the home that's being built. But the relationship with Rachel is a relationship of an entirety of a life together, which is being lived in the experience that each level of movement, each pace along the way, the meaning of Yaakov's name is the one who's pacing, who's moving, that each experience of trial, tribulation, and of connection and of love are all part of a whole, which is what we are both building and becoming in the sharing which is ours. And this brings us to an aspect of love which we haven't really explored before. It's the more holistic vision of we. There's a connectedness between us, which is not only because of a fraternal sense or passion or even of faith. We have actually experienced ourselves now as being two parts of an entirety. And each of us is able to experience in that being a part of an entirety the wholeness of ourselves. And let me explore this a little with you in the kind of work that I've seen with couples and in my own life. See, there's a kind of a realization which comes to us as love matures, which is that we're not really about this to serve the other, to be faithful to the other. We're not really about this to be served by them, certainly. We're not just here because there's a kind of a commonality of existence which we're sharing. We're in this because we actually are really simply two parts in a whole which become activated by the connection which is between us. And this, the rabbis say, is also another reading in that word tamati, which is ta'omati. It's like you're my twin. It's like there's something here which is a reflection of me back through you, without ignoring, obviously, the differences between us. Just like a reflection doesn't exactly mimic who you are. There's an opposite in the reflection back, like when you look in a mirror. But there's something which is a whole deeper level to this, in which, well, in the other you experience that, the things that have triggered me about you, they are because that which I am called to work on and to evolve. The things which I've been awakened in by you, that's because there's something in me which needed you in order for it to be awakened. And there's not a perspective here that you have been about forming me into me. It's that the connection between us has really been the formation of the two of us as a realized one by virtue of all that which is different and the same between us. It's a difficult thing to describe. I mean, I've been married myself over 40 years, and it's like you get to a certain point where you obviously your beloved partner very well, and she, in this case, knows you very well. And that kind of interconnectedness actually leads each of you to also recognize how perfect a fit it is, how much we really are a wholeness of a path together, not making it easy, but rather making it a process which leads to wholeness. So this is actually referred to in Yaakov, who's called the Ish Tam. You see, the Ish Tam, who is the ingenuous person, who is the simple person, who is the Tam in the sense of wholeness, of an integrity in which the exterior and the interior are one, experiences actually two tense. And this is why the Zohar says, it says in the Torah that he's a Yoshev Ohalim. He sits in tents. He's actually sitting in two tents. He's sitting in the tent of Leah and in the tent of Rachel. But more profoundly, he's sitting in the tent of the external world and the internal world, where they're both a wholeness that is completely exposed one by the other. You see, a duplicitous person, which is the image of Esav, of Esau, who's the trickster. A duplicitous person doesn't have their exterior and their interior aligned, but a Tam is actually emblematic of the ability for my interior and exterior to be at one with each other. That's the same thing as when I experience my wife as a reflection both of her reality, but also of my interiority. Her exterior presence is actually my interior world, and my exterior presence is her interior world. This might sound complicated, but actually what begins to happen is you sense a kind of a bonding together in a way in which the things that I see in you and understand in you actually are really very much about something which we share, which if I delve deep, I will discover within myself, either as an aspiration, say my life's ideals, which may have been covered over by my need to survive, might get a great exposure in my wife and the ideals that she follows, or my fears have been blocking certain things which are my great love, and I discover that she has that great love. And whereas at the beginning we might have seen ourselves as being at odds with each other, now we discover that we're actually speaking deeper levels of each other that we want. Or it could be that my intellectual pursuits and desire for profound knowledge was something that my wife couldn't pursue, perhaps because she was insecure about it or got bad feedback, or perhaps simply because she was involved in other things, or perhaps because she had other values which were of greater importance to her than that pursuit. But she loves that in me because it's resonating with something that's in her. This is actually a reflection of something which is so much a part of the loving relationship, and that is beauty. You see, this is the description of Rachel at the very beginning, that she's beautiful. I mean, why do we need to know that? I mean, I know it helps a lot for the romance of the story, right, obviously. But there's something else which is going on there, which is so elemental to beauty and being tam. And let me give you the sense of this, I think, which is visceral to all of us. When you're in a beautiful place and you just see something beautiful, I wish I could share with you what I'm looking at outside my window right now. There's such a sense of at-homeness. There's such a sense of belonging. There's such a sense that, like, I'm appreciating this and experiencing this as beauty because somehow it's actually resonating with the nature of my consciousness, which knows that in a way in which it's really that which is within me that I'm seeing out there, so that's why I experience it as beautiful. There are other things which are actually ugly, which have another word for them, which is that they're distasteful or that they're repulsive, right? As opposed to beauty, which invites us, which gives us a sense of being at home, that this is really my place, really, really my place. I belong here. I wouldn't be experiencing it as beautiful if it wasn't that I belong here. And I want to really encourage you to spend time in beautiful places. It's so important because it so much invites us into the experience of the world as really being here for us, being aligned with us, being appropriate to us, being our home. There's a beautiful thing about the holy language, about Hebrew, which is that the word noi, which is beauty, shares the same root with naveh, which means a dwelling place. I'm dwelling on this together with you because that experience of beauty is actually the one which is eliciting the sense of tam. You are like my twin, my ta'oma, my ta'om. You're perfectly appropriate to me. My inner and outer world are aligned with each other. There's something that's happening between us which is so intimate that we live inside of each other in a way which we can only come to know by a mature and developed and evolved love, which has meant many years together, many experiences together, a deep coming to know each other, a profound appreciation of each other. Yaakov sees it at the very beginning with Rachel, and I don't think, as great as a tzaddik that he was, the Torah intends for us to understand that everything I just described is what he was experiencing there. I think there's something very beautiful about the way the Torah describes his own process and maturation, because he goes through so much with her and so much through his life, and then loses her, which is part of another section that we need to explore about the ephemeral aspect of love. But right now, what I want for us to appreciate and to really join in is this sense of the we-ness of this. And I spend a considerable amount of time counseling couples, or as I call it, educating couples. And without giving any identifying details away, I can tell you a couple that I just had yesterday who've been married for so many years. And it's painful to describe this, how many years, decades have gone by until they sat with me in the room and I was able to bring them to a type of listening, which I call echoing, hidhud, a type of reverberating listening in which the listener becomes like the in Hebrew it's called the tevat tehuda, like the sounding board that's behind the guitar, where when guitarist plays the notes on a classical guitar, it goes into that box, and the undertones and overtones become present in a way in which there's a harmonization of the single sound that came out of the string, and it becomes like a very full sound. That's what a person can learn quite easily to do for their partner in a way in which they listen as this kind of a reverberation and enrichment presence to them. Well, without going into further description of that, it's really something which needs to be practiced and guided. But what I experienced with them yesterday, and what they experienced, was, my gosh, it was the first time, she said to me, the first time when he was actually willing to expose a tender and vulnerable feeling that he had had about something in his life. And she had previously complained to me that, my husband is always running away from his feelings. And indeed, he was running away from his feelings in her presence because of the way in which she was listening was not resonating with what was going on inside him and letting it touch a place in her, which would then resonate together with what was going on inside of him, but rather she herself was pushing off, blocking the pain, seeking advice, that default error that we all make, seeking to give advice, seeking to protect him, seeking to protect herself, seeking to ask a question which would guide him to some kind of a solution or realization, rather than just simply being in resonance with him. These are very beautiful moments which make all the pain and trials of being a couples educator, as I call myself, worthwhile, but they come at great cost also to the person doing the educating, because every couple has to go through a lot of dumping before they can get to these dear moments, which then becomes resource for the rest of their lives, And I've seen it with so many couples who come back and tell me, sometimes just after a few meetings, how that has so shifted the nature of their connection. I'm telling you about this because it's a truth of Tamati, where there's a kind of a reflection of one back to the other, but not a reflection in the sense of what's called reflective listening, where I become your mirror, but rather where I become truly the resonant space for what it is that you've spoken, and let it move through me, and then be held with makom, with place. Well, that is all really something which I just don't know anything more beautiful to look at than the faces of couples who've achieved that, who've accessed that. It really is beautiful, but the beauty is not the beauty of enticement. Rather, it's the beauty of a harmony and a wholeness, and an at-homeness, which is really the way it's experienced, and the way it can be seen by someone who sees a couple that is in this place of Tamati. We are indeed whole. And it's that wholeness which is the final level, which, at least in the Song of Songs, is being described in this extraordinary moment of the lover knocking on the door. In Hebrew, that knock is the same word, the dofek, for the beat of one's heart. And the truth is, my friends, this is really what all this is able to be sort of summarized by. The beat of one's heart, which is a ongoing awakening to life is new. Life is beginning now. I'm taking in, I'm giving out, I'm sharing. I'm becoming at one with. I'm recognizing that we're part of a greater wholeness. Each time Hashem knocking on the door with the beat of my heart, knocking on the door with an invitation to the experience of love, which as we've seen from the very beginning of this series, is the experience of life. And so I'm bringing these chapters to an end now of this series. We're going to be taking a little break over the course of the next 2 weeks, and then return to the exploration of some more aspects of love and practical applications of how we can enhance it and grow it in our lives. I invite you to stay with me for the meditation, which will bring us into that condition of resonance with one of the people who we experience love towards and come to know more profoundly, Tamati. In this meditation, we're going to connect to someone who we love in a way in which we resonate with each other, sensing how much we fill each other's lives with the presence of our beloved. So let's take some moments to simply be present, shedding any kinds of distractions that come from our thoughts, our memories, sensations, as we settle into the calm of this moment. Take a nice deep breath in through your nostrils. Feel your stomach filling out. Slowly release. Exhale. Take a nice deep breath again. This time imagining the air filling your entire body. Release, and with this release, send all tension out. Feel your shoulders relaxing. Extend that relaxation down your back, into your thighs, down through your calves, to your feet and toes. Sense as if there's a beautiful volume of space in your feet, in your legs. Feel the volume of space in your stomach, in your chest, in your arms and hands. All these filling now as you breathe. Feel a beautiful opening of space inside, in your throat, up through your face, between your eyes and behind your eyes, all relaxing as there's a sense of an inner expansiveness. Now as you breathe in, sense light coming in through your nostrils, as if there's a bright and warm presence. You breathe in and fills this interior cavity you've created within yourself. How pleasant and beautiful that experiences as your inward reality expands and grows with calm and warmth and space. I want to invite you to recall a beautiful place that you once visited. You might let it just come up of its own, or purposely imagine it, remembering how beautiful and rich your senses experience that place as being. Sense it as fully as you're able, as if you return to it. The smells, the temperature and movement of the air, the scene in front of you. Sense the inner peace and joyousness which accompanies that experience of beauty as its beauty resonates within you. As you experience it as being in harmony with you and you with it. Perhaps a simple joy that's a mix of joy and pleasure and satisfaction with the gift of being here in this beauty. Now invite someone who you seek to deepen your relationship with, someone with whom you already have a loving connection, bringing up their image in the context of this beauty as your inner state holds the harmony and resonance. Sense the other as if they are here before you, perhaps saying their name, perhaps envisioning them, perhaps simply sensing the presence. Feel that pass between you, a shared presence of beauty. Experience each other looking into each other's eyes. Experience how the breath that you breathe out is breathed in by him or her, and the same for you, their breath. Sense how there's a resonance of presence being shared in and out, in and out. a wholeness of being. Let gratitude and joy be present now as your inner world is filled with theirs and theirs with you. Full tmimut of inward and outward, full wholeness. Now turn your face slightly upward towards Hashem's shining light. Feel it flowing down towards your face. Sense it flowing down towards your beloved, holding both of you in a oneness of divine light. The wholeness of Tamati. Let yourself be filled with gratitude, hodaya. The word itself shares the Hebrew word aid, an echoing, a reverberation, which awakens the gratitude for this gift of connection. Return your inner glance to the beauty that surrounds you in the place that you have come to, sensing again the beautiful scene which you began with, holding both of you being a part of it, letting your awareness rise up and see the two of you as part of this beautiful world that you are gifted to live in, to resonate with, to harmonize with. Bless Hashem for His kindness. Receive this. And now you can begin to return to the place you are, feeling the weight of your body on your chair. Noticing your breath moving in and out. Coming back to this place here, but deeply enriched by all we have experienced. Take a few moments to write a letter of love to your beloved, sharing what touched you, to be given them physically or spiritually. May you come to know this level more and more in your life of love.